Fear isn't the enemy. It's the leash. And most people live their whole lives never realizing they're being walked by it. Social anxiety isn't just shyness. It's a cage built from thoughts, reinforced by experiences, unlocked from the inside. But here's the truth. Every cage has a weak point. And once you know where to look, the world stops feeling so big, and you stop feeling so small. Your brain is an ancient survival machine. Long before cities, phones, or the internet, your ancestors lived in tight-knit tribes. Back then, if the tribe rejected you, it could mean death. Food, shelter, and protection all depended on belonging. Your brain remembers this, even though the world has changed. This is why, when you walk into a room and feel eyes on you, it's not just shyness, it's biology. Your body acts like you're in danger, your heart pounds, your breathing speeds up, and your muscles tense. It's preparing for a threat that doesn't exist. The fear you feel isn't about now. It's about a deeply wired warning that says, if they don't accept me, I'm unsafe. The problem is, this instinct hasn't adapted to modern life. You could be surrounded by strangers in a coffee shop, and your brain treats it like you're being judged by the entire village. In reality, they're probably scrolling their phones, thinking about their own day. The fear isn't about the people in front of you. It's about the history written into your nervous system. Social anxiety feels like living under a spotlight, but the truth is, the spotlight isn't real. It's a mirror you carry in your mind. Every time you enter a social situation, you see yourself reflected back through your own fears. You notice the small tremor in your voice, the awkward pause, the way your hands move. You think others see them too, but they don't. People are not as focused on you as you believe. Why? Because they're staring into their own mental mirrors. They're thinking about what they look like, whether they sound smart, whether they said the wrong thing 2 minutes ago. Everyone is wrapped in their own self-consciousness. Once you understand this, the pressure changes. The world stops feeling like a stage where you're being judged and starts feeling like a crowd of people all trying to feel okay in their own skin. Your anxiety shrinks when you stop imagining you're the main character in everyone else's story. Think of your anxiety as a guard dog that barks at every shadow. It's trying to keep you safe, but it can't tell the difference between a real threat and a harmless one. Every time you avoid a social situation, you're telling the guard dog, yes, that shadow is dangerous. It learns to bark louder next time. The only way to train it is to show it the shadow is harmless. That doesn't mean forcing yourself into terrifying situations. It means starting small. Just like you train a real dog, you approach the danger slowly, calmly, and repeatedly. When you do this, your brain begins to relax. It starts to recognize the difference between actual danger and imagined danger. The guard dog stops barking at every sound, and you stop living in constant alert. Most people hear exposure therapy and think it means throwing yourself into your worst fear, but that often backfires. The key is controlled discomfort, making small, safe challenges that stretch you just beyond your comfort zone. Hold eye contact for 2 seconds longer than feels natural. Ask a cashier how their day is. Give a small opinion in a group conversation. Each time you do, you're teaching your brain, this is safe. You can relax. Over weeks and months, these small wins add up. The leash gets looser, the cage door opens. You start to move through the world without that constant hum of dread in the background. Fear still exists, but it no longer controls your steps. Here's the truth. Fear never fully goes away, and it doesn't need to. The goal isn't to kill fear. It's to stop letting it steer your life. Fear is just a signal that you're about to grow. When you stop seeing fear as the enemy, you realize it's more like a compass. It points toward the moments that matter, the ones where you might fail, but you might also change. If you run from it, you stay where you are. If you walk with it, your world gets bigger. The shift happens when you understand that social anxiety isn't a sign you're broken. It's a sign your brain is overprotecting you. And with the right steps, you can teach it to protect you without holding you back. Every day, people wear social masks, faces they put on to fit in, to avoid judgment, to hide the parts they think are weak or broken. For someone with social anxiety, this mask feels heavy, almost impossible to keep in place. You try to appear calm, confident, even happy. But inside, you're battling a storm of doubts, questions, and fears. The mask protects you, yes, but it also separates you from genuine connection. When you're constantly pretending, you're not just hiding your fear, you're hiding yourself. The more effort it takes to keep the mask on, the more exhausting social life becomes. This exhaustion feeds the anxiety, creating a cycle where hiding feels safer than risk, but safer isn't the same as freedom. The real breakthrough begins when you stop trying to be perfect and start allowing yourself to be real, messy, awkward, uncertain, but fully you. That honesty breaks down the walls of the cage faster than any trick or quick fix ever could. Facing social anxiety alone is like trying to swim upstream without a life raft. But here's something few people realize: the power of small, safe communities. When you find or create spaces where people accept you without judgment, something shifts inside. The guard dog relaxes, the mental mirror gets clearer. You realize that you don't have to face the world's gaze alone. These small groups don't erase fear, but they soften it. They remind you that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the key to connection. Philosophically, this means your journey isn't just about fighting fear inside your head. It's about finding places in the world where fear loses its power. And that means seeking out the right people, not just the right mindset. So, you've seen the mask you wear, and you've felt the weight of trying to be someone you're not. You've glimpsed the quiet strength found in places where fear doesn't rule. But here's the hardest truth: freedom from social anxiety isn't about escaping fear. It's about choosing what to do when fear shows up. When the leash finally slips, will you run back to the safety of the cage? Or will you step forward into a world that's waiting for someone brave enough to be real? Because once you decide, nothing will ever be the same again.